This is what happens week by week when a law firm hires us. But this video isn't really about us. It's about your client's brain at 2 a.m. and the 50 milliseconds it takes to decide whether to trust you. Every box on this list exists because of that. What you get, when you get it, and why it's built that way, this is the full tour. The first 90 days, then the rhythm that comes after. Now, you already know how this usually goes. You hire an agency, you sign, you pay, then fog. 3 months of dashboards, clicks, impressions, brand awareness. You're told to be patient. You've probably lived that, maybe more than once. Here's our problem with that. You should never have to ask your agency, so what are you doing? And honestly, we're not a marketing agency. We don't sell leads. We scale law firms by installing a system, and every week of that system is engineered around one finding. The person who hires you isn't thinking. They're surviving. Their rational brain is offline, and the survival brain is running the search. We know because we ran the largest study of its kind. 7,600 law firm websites scored against the psychology of a person in legal crisis. Fewer than 1 in 200 passed. Now, the brain renders its verdict in about 50 milliseconds, and almost every firm fails before a single word gets read. That study became the trust frame, the system you're about to watch get installed. So here's the tour. Month 1, we build your foundation, and your leads turn on in week 2, not month 3. Month 2, your firm comes to life. Month 3, we accelerate and prove it with our own 90-day numbers. Then I'll show you the rhythm that makes firms unrecognizable in a year. And at the end, exactly what it costs and why. And it starts slower than you would expect, on purpose. Week 1 is a 90-minute kickoff. We go deep, your practice areas, the cases you actually want more of, your market, how you talk about what you do. We collect access to everything. And here's the first thing that should sound different. Everything we build lives in your name, on your accounts, with you holding the keys. So what that means is your site, your content, your ad accounts, your data. We call it sovereign soil. Fire us in a year and you keep every brick. We can't hold you hostage, and that's by design. Why lead with that? Because you've been burned before, and trust that can't survive an exit clause was never trust. Quietly, that same week, a process called scoreability starts running in the background. Hold that thought, it pays off in week 2. In weeks 2 and 3 are where the agency script really breaks. Week 2, your ads turn on, not month 3. We launch Google Ads and local service ads, pointed at a placeholder page that's already engineered to convert. It evolves as your real site comes online, but the leads start now while we build the rest of the machine. But we treat paid as a scalpel, not a crutch. We optimize one number, cost per kept consultation, CPKC. If a lead doesn't answer and actually show up, it doesn't count. We run something called a capacity heat index, which means we will never buy you a ringing phone your team can't answer, because a wasted click costs money, but a mishandled crisis call costs a case and a reputation. Meanwhile, the website rebuild starts. And this is the part nobody else in the industry will say to you, because it comes out of the study, not a design trend. When someone needs a lawyer, the 2 a.m. search after an arrest, the paper served out of nowhere, stress hormones have already shut the thinking brain down. The page they land on isn't being read by a reader. It's being scanned by an alarm system. So heavy text, 12 menu options, a form demanding their whole story, that alarm system reads as a threat. And they're gone in 50 milliseconds, long before your credentials even load. Therefore, we rebuild your site on the trust frame 7-layer crisis layout. We call the approach emotional protection architecture. Visual decompression, so the page physically calms a nervous system instead of crowding it. Shame containment for the fears people won't say out loud. 3 form fields, 1 clear path. We're not designing for taste. We're designing for a heart rate. And that's also the week scoreability pays off. It locks your content matrix. Every topic we could rank you for, scored by the case value of the matter, by difficulty, by demand, by intent. That matrix becomes your next 6 months. It's also the reason you stop drowning in cases you never wanted. The machine gets pointed at the ones you do. By the way, if you're wondering how your current site scores on those exact dimensions, we built a free scorecard that tells you in about 2 minutes. It's at scoremoreclients.com. Brutally honest. Okay. Week 3, the fun one. Week 3 is your video shoot. 1 full day, we walk out with 20 to 30 videos. But we don't have you deliver a polished pitch into the lens. Polish reads as performance, and performance breaks trust in a stressed brain. We shoot for emotional resonance, and we deliberately leave a little texture in, because a slightly imperfect human is exactly what a frightened person believes. Every question we ask you on camera comes straight off your content matrix. So every answer walks out of that room as a piece of content with a job to do. Week Week 4, post-production starts. Every video gets cut 2 different ways. One edit to reassure the person already on your site, deciding. One edit built to stop a stranger's scroll. Same footage, 2 completely different jobs. And we begin building your intake system, Scoreboard, by auditing how your calls get handled today. Because getting the phone to ring is only half of the game. So that's month 1. Leads flowing, foundation built, strategy locked, content shot, conversion engine under construction. But everything you just built is still backstage. Now month 2 is where the curtains open. Week 5 is assembly. Pages built, videos placed, and a pass we call the trust continuity control layer. Your website, your social, your email tuned until they feel like one continuous voice. Most firms read like 3 different companies depending on where you meet them. And that mismatch quietly kills trust. One firm, one feeling everywhere. Week 6, you go live. And this is a real milestone. So we treat it like one, not a redesign, a different machine, engineered on every dimension of trust, carried by your own face and voice with tracking on every wire, so nothing is a guess anymore. Week 7, your content engine starts publishing. Every priority in the matrix becomes a page that ranks. Social posts and video, daily organic, plus 2 email campaigns a month. And email has a real job. Most of your future clients aren't ready the first time they meet you. Email keeps you present and trusted until the moment they are. And every single piece is an asset that you own forever, not rented traffic that dies when your budget stops. Week 8, the front door opens for real. Your conversion machine comes online. We hold a 60-second standard. A live human answers a new lead within 60 seconds. Day, night, weekends, holidays, it does not matter. We build in a quiet door, text and chat for the people who are too ashamed to call. There are more of them than you think. And we run the first intake coaching session with your team. Think of it like baseball. You can do everything right to get to the big leagues, but standing over the plate, you still have to connect with the ball. We make sure your team hits it out of the park. Actually, want to know whether you need any of this tonight? 2 numbers. Call your own office at 7 p.m. and count the seconds until a human answers. Then count the fields on your contact form. Those 2 numbers will predict your caseload better than your ad budget does. So you're live and the doors are open. And this is exactly where most agencies start coasting. Month 3 is where the system has to start proving itself instead. In week 9, those paid campaigns from week 2 get repointed at your real trust frame pages and your video. Same spend, better conversion. Your cost per kept consultation starts dropping. Paid stops being a bridge and starts compounding with everything else. And over time, it gets to shrink because more and more of your traffic is traffic that you own. Now, week 10, the flywheel starts. When we've helped take one of your clients from crisis to relief, that peak is exactly when we trigger the review request, because memory is ruled by peaks and endings. And that's the moment gratitude is highest. And then we monitor and respond everywhere and tune your Google business profile. Every happy client becomes proof the next stressed brain can feel. Week 11 is a trajectory review. We come to you with numbers before you ever have to ask. Week 12 is your day 90 review, before and after, side by side, where you started and where you are. Phase 1 complete. And here's the part that explains why our firms are unrecognizable in a year. Most owners think that what I just showed you is a project. It's not, it's a cycle. Month 4 through 6 settle into the rhythm. Content publishing, intake coaching reviews, compounding, and a clear performance report every month. Around month 5, we schedule your next shoot. And in month 7, the entire engine turns again. Fresh strategy, fresh footage, fresh content, stacked on top of everything already ranking. Every 6 months, the machine turns over and it compounds, which leads to the number nobody in the industry is going to talk about. Roughly 70% of everything that we do builds assets that appreciate your content, your rankings, your reviews, your systems. A firm running on rented leads sells for about 1 times revenue, but a firm running on owned assets, systems that produce without the founder, that sells for 3 to 5 times. So the same calendar that's filling next month's caseload is quietly repricing what your life's work is worth. And because I promise nothing behind the curtain, here's what it costs and how to think about it. The most expensive mistake in legal marketing is what we call the Superman fallacy. Hiring one marketing person at 60 to 80 grand a year to execute something that takes 8+ specializations. This is $7,500 a month, and you're not hiring a person. You're getting a fractional special operations unit, systems architecture, UX specialist, crisis copywriter, pay-per-click strategist, SEO specialist, video strategist, data analyst, intake specialist, 8+ specialists for less than one mediocre generalist. And if this whole calendar feels like a lot, it is, but you don't have to eat the elephant in one bite. And you don't have to hold any of this. That's our job. You just have to say, go. So let's put the whole thing back on one page. Week 2, your leads turn on. Week 6, you go live. Week 8, your front door answers in 60 seconds around the clock. Day 90, proof in your own numbers. Month 7, the machine turns again, and everything built along the way belongs to you. That's the difference between buying marketing and installing a system. One is a black box that you pay into and hope. The other is a calendar that you can hold. If you want this calendar with your firm's name on the boxes, book a call with us. Before it, what our team will do is they'll run the Trust Frame score, the same diagnostic from the 7,600 site study. On the call, you see where you're losing cases and what your market is actually worth. If it's a fit, you'll see your dates. If it's not, the audit is yours either way, because your next client is going to decide in 50 milliseconds. We don't sell marketing, we install the machine, we'll hand you the keys.